So welcome to everyone. Welcome to you both. Thank you for coming down tonight. I have to just go through a little protocol, which is to remind you of the fire drill. There's no alarm trials or testing tonight. So if you hear it going off, then make your way out the way you came. Don't use the lift. And then I have to read this, which is the following. Subject to Standing Order 413, a person who attends a meeting is permitted to report on the meeting whilst the meeting is open to the public. To report means to film, photograph, make an audio recording of meeting proceedings, use other means for enabling persons not present to see or hear the meeting as it takes place or later, or to report or to provide oral or written commentary about the meeting so that the report or commentary is available as the meeting takes place or later to persons not present. Further detail is given in the Portishead Town Council Filming and Recording Policy, Policy C8, and Portishead Town Council Behaviour Policy 413. A person present at the meeting may not provide an oral report or oral commentary about a meeting as it takes place without permission. Right. Okay, moving on. So I've done that. Apologies for absence. We've got.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have apologies from councillors Bob Cartwright, Tim Snaden and Carol Preston.
Okay, thank you. And the declaration of councillors' interests and requests for dispensations and exemptions. So are you going to read that?
Yeah,
out?
absolutely. So with regard to planning application 23/P/2256/FUL Portishead Football Club. Portishead Town Council is the landowner for the football club, and as such, all members of this committee have to declare an other registerable interest. Normally, this would mean that they will have to withdraw from the meeting and not vote on the item. However, as a proper officer of this council, I am granting them dispensation to allow the members to remain in the meeting and to vote upon the observation, as it is considered that without the dispensation, the number of persons prohibited from participating in any particular business would be so great a proportion of the body transacting the business as to impede the transaction of the business. In other words, they won't be able to vote. So dispensation is granted and you are able to vote.
Good, thank you. So further declarations of interest, I have nothing that I'm aware of.
I have none.
I have none.
No, nothing to step.
Yeah, none that I'm aware of.
Okay, thank you.
Is that right, Wendy? We've done that right.
That's right.
So I now have to just go through briefly the chairman's report, noting that we, as a committee, were thanked for the application support we gave to Glen Orkey, which was refused, as you probably gather. I also make a note of the temporary speed restrictions on the Clevedon roads between 50 and 30 miles per hour on the 18th of December between the hours of 9:30 and 3:30 for work to be undertaken by Openreach via the Clevedon Road nurseries, as was. Bristol Airport has submitted an application to North Somerset Council, that's 2482, to upgrade its existing aviation fuel storage capacity. Also, that there's a meeting scheduled for the 25th of January 2024 in relation to the Paris Council's Airport Association, the PCAA. Where that is held, I don't know.
Paul Churchill attends that on our behalf.
Oh, good.
Okay.
And there's a further application from them, 2484, for the creation of a new permanent aircraft stand, and a further one, 2518, for construction infill a section of external void space to create additional terminal floor space. And then I have to tell you about North Somerset Council's consulting on its school admission coordinating schemes 2025-26 until the 26th of January. And it's also consulting on school admissions arrangements for 2025-26 until the same date, 26th of January. So presumably that's something that we can add to and to make comment about.
I think
Right.
there's range for say on it.
That's the end of my little report there. So public participation. And we have Mr. and Mrs. Transome here to talk about 58 Hillside Road. That's 2015, the application, which we'll be discussing first on the agenda. So please feel free to.
Okay, you may or may not have notes in front of you. I did send them through, but I'll just.
This
if
is
you don't
just
mind
to
read.
Does anyone want to
what I did sort of this the other day, yeah.
one reverse as well? I mean, I just did one of many.
So, we're here to strongly object to the proposed planning application 2015. You know that. I am an immediate neighbour of the property, and this proposal would have an enormous negative impact on our lives due to the significant invasion of our privacy. The extended ground floor of the plan, the extended ground floor living space, would be very close to our home and will look directly into our bedroom. Additionally, the first floor rooms and balconies will all directly overlook and have an uninterrupted line of sight into our bedroom, primary living spaces, kitchen and dining room, as well as our outside sitting area and gardens, therefore denying us any privacy on the south side of our property. With the extended width and massive increase in height, giving the appearance of a 3.5-story property, so close, will be towering over us, overbearing, intimidating, and inhibiting, all made worse by the natural topography. We believe we have the right to privacy and should be able to feel comfortable and not overlooked in our home. It states within the design and access statement, the immediate neighbours are engaged with the proposals. This was most definitely not our experience. Also stated, measures have been taken to protect the amenity of our neighbours' properties, and the proposed balcony and decking area at the rear have been appropriately screened to avoid overlooking neighbours. Most definitely not with regard to us as neighbours and our property. We ask that this proposal be rejected.
And you support us in that.
So, some of that, just to frame it, was written as a response to the North Somerset, and that comment has been published. What I just wanted to do to sort of put some scale to it is this is the proposed new build. The existing build is effectively that window and that window, and that is the living space that we can see of theirs. So the proposal is to put all of this living space on the first floor and additional living space here, which is all glazed and all towering over us. And as I say, with uninterrupted views into our property.
And the other illustration that you showed was the superimposed height of the building in relation to its existing.
So what I've tried to do there, I've taken the scale of their plans. That's the existing property.
Yep.
This is our fence line we look at. And that's an image, and I would say approximate because I've had to scale it, but it's near. I did take the liberty of printing that.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you very much. So we'll go into discussion about it. Yeah? That's,
I guess there's a little question, and maybe that's after your discussion, which is where do we go from here?
yeah. So let me refresh the application 2015. So it's a proposed renovation remodeling of existing dwelling, and I don't think there's any argument about that. I mean, it's a fairly old property, what, 60s, 70s, early 70s, thereabouts, isn't it?
Ours was built in 62, so I guess it's
about the same. Including the creation of a second story and gabled roof of the east-west elevation with one dormer to the east elevation, demolition of existing side conservatory and the erection of a single part double story extension in place, erection of multiple small extensions at the front and rear elevations and fenestration alterations, including the removal, replacement and installation of windows and doors, creation of decking at the rear of the dwelling. So if you can imagine that the Swenson's house is here and they are at an angle, sort of a bit of an L, and there's another property in here, and the one adjacent to the applicants where Roger is already enormous. They've gone up 3 stories effectively, haven't they, with multiple decking at the back.
They've used the topography, so
Yeah.
there's 3-story at the back and 2-story at the
Yeah.
front, but it is definitely 3-story.
Both Martin and I have been to visit. I went today, you went earlier. And I can fully understand where
Absolutely.
the objections are coming from. So personally, I would feel that if they stripped away some of the west extension, the glass extension at the west end,
Yeah.
and effectively lowered the proposal, then you would perhaps feel that that was more of a compromise.
It's the roof directly on, it looks into our bedroom, well, they all do, but the 2-story will be something, it's
This-
wide,
This room here,
yeah,
which
none of that exists at the moment.
that building line is within a couple of meters of our property. And
Yeah.
this one is the one that has the most direct. And as you move away, of course, the distance is starting to help things a bit. But so, yeah, that's it's the most offensive, if that's the right word. But yes, it's, I don't know what,
And
I
if
don't
you-
know what we can't propose anything because, you know.
Well, I would think that we could propose that it was overdevelopment of the site.
But
Absolutely.
this here, the interesting thing here, with this house here, it's probably when you're the other side, the
That's the
same
large
height.
White House.
Yeah.
This goes, steps back up the hill.
It does.
This one comes
Forward.
unbelievably
It does.
high.
Yeah.
And when you've got a balconies right there, it's really overpowering.
Yeah, I don't disagree with
It's
you.
really, really overpowering.
And that view shows the proximity to our bed, that's taken from our bedroom window.
Yeah.
You can see it's
We would
close
need
and it's
to
getting
there.
closer.
Yeah.
The entirely back side.
So Martin, would you agree with that?
I do, absolutely.
You had the same feelings as I do.
Oh, exactly. I mean, they're unfortunate and because of topography as well, aren't they? If it was a straight road, you probably wouldn't have such a problem, but because you're going down the slope and they're so high. I mean,
And the people
Oh,
that
yeah,
support it, they only see a tiny bit. And it probably for them is better. I don't think they have any understanding if they were to walk down the.
Probably never done it.
Anyway,
So are we minded to think that this is overdevelopment of the site, particularly on the western elevation
Yep.
and on its height?
Absolutely.
Comments, Ben, Roger?
Yeah, my understanding is it's a 2-bedroom property, from the plans, I think.
Currently.
And it's a bungalow, yeah?
Yes.
So this is covered with the Portishead neighbourhood plan. I
Yep.
think PWH1 and PWH2 about retaining our existing housing stock and not changing certain types of housing which we sort of deem to be more protected, and that's the smaller houses and the bungalows, isn't it, that we've been looking to keep in Portishead and not have developed into 3, 4, 5-bedroom multi-story homes. So I think definitely this one looks to be against the neighbourhood plan. So that's regardless of anything else. The tough one is that obviously other houses have been allowed in the past to do this.
That was my question, yeah, so the precedent's already been set, so Very you've much so.
uh,
got
Yeah.
the catch-22, haven't you?
But the
then
neighbourhood
if
plan
that's been
has
since-
gone through referendum,
Yeah.
it's been adopted, it's all done, so these rules are in place. So I think we should lean on the rules that we've already put in place.
So we do.
And say, look, that it's because they works really well with the planners. Then when it gets down to North Somerset, they've actually got a real policy to go, okay, we can add weight to that one.
Yeah,
So-
fair point, fair point.
So
Good point,
apart
good
from
point.
maybe it's an overdevelopment of the site anyway, I think we should also have in the the neighbourhood plan.
Yeah.
I mean, we put a lot of time, effort and money into getting that one through, so we really need to use it, I think.
Especially where the recommendations about ultimately, we, although considering there's been a precedent previously set, since that precedent was set, the neighbourhood plan has been implemented in the referendum in 2022. Therefore, against neighbourhood plan reference numbers X and Y, we hereby object on the grounds that one, it's overdevelopment and it's going against the neighbourhood plan principles.
Yeah.
That is what I would suggest that we do. Because then there is no kickback because we're following neighbourhood plan and no Somerset have to follow the neighbourhood plan. That is what I would propose the recommendation to be, which I'd be happy to support.
I double checked and there's no statement related to the plan in the documents that have been submitted at all.
I mean, as we know, numerous properties of, well, not just Hillside, but all around Redcliffe Bay have been substantially altered over the years. Whether we would get away with this, it's worth.
Part of the reason that this has been put in is because
Yes.
so many
Exactly.
have been lost of
Professional
one and
housing,
two bedroom properties.
Yeah,
And we are crying out for the smaller properties in Portishead or the residents or potential
Very fair
residents.
point, very fair. Okay,
So it's PWH1 and PWH2, I think, are the two which would be relevant to that.
I didn't bring a copy of it down tonight, so.
The internet's a great thing.
Right. So we're all in agreement of that. Shall we
Yeah.
just vote on it? I think
I'm
it's
happy to
fairly
propose it.
unanimous,
Well,
isn't it? Yeah.
We're all in favour, yes.
Okay.
Great.
Good.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you very
folks.
much for your time, gents. and
Thank you
ladies.
for coming down.
There's your document.
I like to look at it.
Whether it goes in the notes of the meeting or whatever.
Yeah, no.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Good point.
Thank you.
Your
Bye-bye.
information, right?
Right, thanks. Could you pass me over that one, please, as well? Thanks.
There you go.
Can you? Right then, moving on then to the next one, which is another one off the branch line.
I'm going to go back, go to a minute.
Yeah, so back to 6.
Go down to 6.
Oh yeah, got that though.
Roger wasn't here though, apparently, rumour has it. I think he was though.
Yeah, so,
Is that opposite me in that jump?
sorry, can I?
I think
So,
you.
so yeah, minutes of the last meeting don't show me in attendance or having given my apologies. Yeah, no, I'm starting to feel it's personal now. However, I do note from the minutes that I did propose 1 and seconded 2 in my absence. So maybe something's wrong there.
You are here, Roger.
Hmm?
You are here.
Not in the ones that I received.
I'll bring you all your names down here on this one.
Perhaps Sharon has realised in the interim.
Certainly it got missed off the previous
copy
month.
It's definitely got you there, promise. But
That's okay. As long as I'm in, that's all that matters.
Do you want to go through them or are you happy to approve them?
Happy.
Yeah, fine.
Good.
Yeah.
thank you.
As long as I'm in there, I'm happy.
Shall I do it at the end?
Yeah, do.
Right, fine. So I'll sign those. Okay. So we'll move on to 2353, the Portishead branch line. And this is a Cattle Creek Bridge down at Eastern Ingledeno. Everyone looked at it? Interesting stuff. Yes. Along with the archaeological one we've dealt with and the hydrology one before that. So
I assume it only comes to us, it's starting in Portishead. Is that the reason it comes to us, is it?
yes, I think so. Yeah, it's all within our sort of.
It affects the line that will be
Yeah, no, I get that. It's just the
up
fact
and
that
running at some stage.
it's
Yes.
not in our boundaries. That's my only comment
Yeah.
on it. It's not, okay, it starts and finishes in Portishead, but it's not in Portishead.
Yeah, that part isn't important at all.
I think
That's the only question.
I think I'm right in saying that it's not there at the moment. Well, actually, I don't know whether it is in East Ingledeno. I think it's between the two bridges on Sheepway. And I think the farmer over the years has, been going over backwards and forwards over the line. And of course, now he's sort of got the right of way, so to speak. So I think they're having to obviously put this in for him or them or whoever.
I've been squatting all that time.
Yeah.
I mean, no issues from me because it's like, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we're all in
It's
favour,
all-
obviously.
yeah,
Yeah, it's all part of the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's been.
And it's always good news because that means that we're getting closer to having the railway line put in.
And the DCO being
Assuming
signed.
that you're a supporter of the railway line.
Well, I am very much.
And we
so,
have the
yes.
same government who then decide that they're going to still bankroll it.
Well, yeah, who knows?
And there has been a resignation in the past 10 minutes. Hashtag. That's true. Fact, yeah.
Who, what,
Generic, resign,
Has he?
because of the Rowena plan.
Yeah, it has.
Fair play to him, sticking to his guns, fair play.
Absolutely.
They've actually got some credentials after all.
Well, I think they're hoping,
Principles as well.
Yeah.
I think they're hoping to get the DCO signed off by spring so they can start then looking at contractual work.
It's out to tender, isn't it?
It should be
It's gone out to
soon.
tender already. Well, gone, I think it's in a 2-year tender process, I think.
Well,
think-
let's just hope Network Rail get onto it and deal with it.
It's all in the sort of final stages, I believe. Yes.
There's done loads of work down there in recent weeks as well. Loads of work.
Yes, they have. Yeah, they've
As
put on the line.
As a major project, it falls under Mike Bell's remit. And I keep saying, Mike, you know, anything goes on, can you just let me know? And I mean, he hasn't told me anything yet. So on the basis that no news is good news.
Yeah, quite.
Well, following on from our discussions this morning, Roger, just very briefly in relation to buses,
But there's-
then the bus hub that they want to put into Portishead, it might be better to defer it until the railway station's open and make that the bus hub. So-
You know, I was thinking exactly the same thing when they were talking about bus hubs the other day, and it's like, but what about the station? I mean, why are we making decisions now when that's sat there waiting to happen? So,
Yeah.
and it will come up at exec, and I will shout Portishead
Good,
forever as
Yeah.
usual.
Right, moving on to,
Do we have to vote on that though? We have to vote on it. We didn't vote.
well, I think we're all in favour of it, aren't
Yeah,
we? So
yeah. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, so it's definitely
Oh,
I'm
all
happy
in
to propose
favour,
it.
unanimous, yes.
I'll second it. Thank you.
Job done.
Make sure we follow the thing. We're going to get done by the red tape.
Sorry.
Come on, Mike.
Chairman, bang, bang. 2212, Nexus Resources Limited, and this one is a proposed extension of the existing office space to create additional meeting and functional room, working spaces, including shower, changing room, cycle stores, showroom, and meeting rooms. This is down at the end of the High Street, next to what is now a rebuilt flower shop. And I think personally, I think they've done a good job down at the flower shop.
It looks really nice. It does look really nice.
I did send an email regarding this one yesterday because there's a number of supportive comments on the website, but there's one initial objection.
Yes, from neighbours, isn't it?
from
Next
the
door neighbours,
neighbours,
yeah, in
Yeah.
relation to the boundary and
About the construction
Yes.
and access to
do people want to be
maintenance.
reminded of it
Yep.
before and afters on that one? I
think-
personally don't have a view on the matter negatively. I think it's a reasonable development. I don't see how it would impinge the neighbourhood, the neighbours particularly that much.
Point of order.
So I would be,
So that plan doesn't show the neighbour's garage in the plan. It's missing from the submitted
Mhm.
diagrams.
Did you see a particular problem with the
Garage,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's a
It's-
garage.
I don't.
It's just the gable end of the garage, isn't it? Single
It's the
story
gable
gable end.
I haven't the time to visit, so yeah, it's the gable end of the garage, and the build statement in the plan doesn't state how they're gonna, because of the overcroft or undercroft. There's no mention about the garage, and obviously they're gonna have to get into the ground, for the foundations, given the height. So I don't know if we need to. I don't know if we do need to visit to just make sure that everything is.
Well, I don't think there really are any foundations. It's on two supporting poles, isn't it? Well, the foundation of the extension is quite a distance from the garage by looking at it here. Roger.
Okay, yeah, no, I had a look at the plan. I mean, it looks quite straightforward what they want to do. I've seen the neighbours' objections. I think we should obviously note that the neighbours have objected to highlight that to North Somerset. However, I think the objections probably don't carry any weight in planning. When it comes to foundations and party wall, that's all done under party wall agreements, so the
Good,
planners
yeah.
just ignore it. Same with building regs. People say like, oh, that won't be to building regs. Well, it has to be to building regs. So that again, that doesn't come into planning. But yeah, I think if we say, please take note of the neighbours' concerns here,
Yeah.
I'd be happy to say no objection as long as we put the proviso in that North Somerset look at the neighbours' concerns, look at and maybe address
Yeah, fair point.
neighbours'
Fair point,
concerns.
yeah.
Perfect. That's absolutely-
Because I would judge that the actual gable end of the post extension is at least a metre from the boundary wall, wouldn't you?
I thought, yeah.
Assuming the
Looking at it.
3D renderings are correct.
Well, yes. Yeah.
We have seen some which have been
Yeah,
incorrect in the past, but
Okay.
I had a look on Google Maps and it doesn't look to be an issue, but you know, again, it's a 3D rendering, so you're never quite sure, are you?
So I'll propose no objection.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry, here you go.
All in favour of approval?
Yeah.
No issue at all on that one.
And you've made a note of Roger's
have,
comments, yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Right, Portishead Football Club, 2256. Oh, 2344 Down Road, 2321. Proposed direction of 2 detached dwellings.
I've
Land-
got a question for this one as well.
yeah, and don't worry. So by landscape alterations to include the creation, alteration of vehicular access and hard standing. So here we have the plan of said development. And for those of you who have gone past recently, it's nearly complete. The two houses are well
on the way.
on the way.
Mm.
So it's all happening now. Whether the
So, just to fetch Wendy up to date. So the actual original plans for the removal of the bungalow and the two houses were approved on the 27th of April 2021. That's done. What this one seems to have done is added via a design and access statement, new and additional windows and all sorts of other things, but not through full planning, through a design and access.
did the
It's referenced as a full
it
plan,
is
though,
it's just
isn't it?
full, yeah, it's FOL, yeah. Did the demolition of the existing building back in 2021, did that have a design proposal for the two
Yeah, which is
dwellings?
different to this one.
I see.
Oh,
Okay, right.
Did they maybe do outline planning? And this
I
is
don't
then
know.
the full application that
Just trying to work
Yeah,
that
that's-
through. But,
Sounds very likely, isn't
yeah,
it?
I think what we put, I don't know if there's anybody that was on planning 3 years ago that would remember. Obviously not.
They would remember.
Yeah.
Well, as you can see from this, I mean, the two adjoining properties were also on the single plot,
Yeah.
so it's right next door. It's been already done.
In history, there was lots and lots of objections due to access, obviously the current access, the vehicle access. The design statement now is updated. I think preceding that, there's the requirement for electric charging points and bike stores and some other bits and pieces which have been added, but in so doing there's also now differences, and because of, again, on the topography, there was different vehicle access plans which now mean that the cars are entering via the one hole for the two cars
Yeah.
for the two properties in opposed to two.
I see.
But
Yeah.
it's also changed the actual positioning and everything of the windows at the rear, which obviously are at the back, and there's houses behind that. So I don't know if this needs a bit, but as you said, it's not retrospective, but the houses are. You're not going to, change the place of windows that if the houses are already.
Do you have any proposals then?
No, it's just-
No, I mean, it didn't.
Knowing a bit more about what was going on, really, I guess. As you said, the houses themselves were approved, not through the council, through so it was an objection from Portishead Town Council, I believe, but then approved at North Somerset.
Well, as stated, the properties are well on their way, yes, at least halfway up, I should think.
It's very, it's a strange summary, given that it's already approved.
I mean, inevitably, it's another loss of front garden and parking hard standing and instead. A large hole in the wall. So yeah, I mean, I think in the
The one in 2020 was a full application
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
This has kind of come through wrong though, isn't it? It seems to be reads totally wrong. The fact that they're already correctly up, now they're just
Yeah.
making
it-
changes, so it seems if it's incorrect.
Yeah, you'd feel that
Just
this
an
should
amendment.
just be an amendment. Yeah, there's
Question
a
amendment to-
different code for that. Isn't there?
Yeah, so can
so
we
the
not
wording
kick
is
it back on that?
incorrect then, proposed
Well,
erection of 2 dwellings.
It's completely wrong.
That's all.
Right.
I mean, they could. I mean, I guess there's nothing to stop them submitting a second planning application, but that would mean a
Why
second
would you
fee.
do?
So why would you do that? Yeah.
And it's not telling the facts, because what they're actually asking for, so what it says and what they're actually asking for are two different things. So I think we knock it back on the fact that there's an inaccurate representation of the facts.
Yeah.
We've seek
Yeah.
further clarification and we object on that.
Yeah, I put a note in about us losing another bungalow, but as it's already gone, I put a quotation like that because it looked like it had already gone and it has already gone.
Just already gone, yeah.
But we do have to note perhaps to the loss of the vehicular access and the hard standing, which is the loss of the gardens,
Yeah.
which is part of this wording here.
But I guess whether it's a full application or an amendment, then you know the outcome's still the same. Are we minded to approve it regardless of its status, and query the status and say, but we would approve it as an amendment, or just query the status and leave it at that?
I would
See if
query
it
the
comes back
status
again.
and query the accuracy of the information we provided, because it's,
Yeah.
we need to make sure we get the right information. We can't make a decision, yes or no, on inaccurate information. We can't, because we can come unstuck.
Yeah, so
So-
they'll just need to put it back to us then, won't they? Yeah.
Yeah. have to come
Yeah,
back in
that makes
January.
sense.
Okay,
So I'm happy to propose that we
yes.
put that through as I suggested.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fine.
So,
All in favour?
all in favour of that? then?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It was just, it was just on a bit.
Are we all going to leave the room for the next one?
So yes, 2256,
Wendy
what's
has
their
to.
football club? So this is a conversion of a natural grass pitch to a 3G artificial grass pitch with a 4.5 metre high perimeter fence, a hard standing area, storage containers, 2 spectator stands and 2 team shelters, erection of 6 15-metre high floodlights to replace the existing ones. Well, I don't know much about the football club. I understand that this is already a pitch which is in use, but they want to obviously replace it with the AstroTurf so they could use it throughout the year. Presume it gets a bit waterlogged.
No, not
No?
really, no,
Oh.
no. It's just, it kind of allows them to play effectively. You could argue they're not going to do it 24/7, but not going to.
Does it also allow them to have more standing in terms of leagues and things?
It helps them in the league as such in terms of kind of, you know, that they've got a better pitch, but actually where they are in the league is depending on what they can do, if they can score enough goals against the opposition.
yeah.
Which they're doing quite well at the moment. But I think ultimately the background on this, sorry, Roger, before we come in, obviously, as we all, well, some of you all know that Paul Gardner, before he departed the building, and obviously we were the kind of the representatives for the council, and we worked incredibly hard with them on a variety of things, from looking at the different better clubhouse to the pitches, and we've supported them endlessly on this. We've got them a new lease, so we untangled all the legalities that when we took over the council in 2019. To say there was a bit of a mess at the football club is probably a bit of an understatement. We untangled the mess. That's they kind of got themselves in a little bit, but also they were kind of like, kind of corralled into a corner, you could argue. I'm not going to say too much on it because it's there. It's in the black and white if you want to go and see it when it's up. It's in the folder. There were denials from people that this development area was going to happen on the football club, but it's in fact, and people's names are present on meeting minutes, so I've seen it. So we managed to untangle that, got the developer short shrift and told him to go away back to Virginia Water and never darken our door again, which thankfully they didn't. and we can then give them a lease. And part of the deal with the lease was it will help them with the football association to be able to go forward, because without the certainty of having a lease that's at absolute minimum 30 years, they want the higher the better for obvious reasons, because they're going to invest a significant amount of money. I mean, it's this just north of £1 million investment from them. So, you know, they've come a very long way in the period of time. I mean, yes, they're kicking and screaming sometimes, but actually they've come a very long way, and this is their kind of one of their final hurdles. It goes, my understanding is, if we're minded to approve it this evening, and then North Somerset are minded to approve it, and I'm aware that North Somerset officers have visited the site with the football club. I've not heard any adverse feedback. There were, at the last count, 359 fours. I think it was 5 or 6 objections. They have spoken to the residents. They have invited the residents to go along and have a look at the plans. They've invited district councillors as well to go and have a look. I believe Roger was one of them that went along. I can't remember. I don't think the rest were there. I think only you, wasn't it? Or did Nicola go as well?
I think it was Nicola that went, not me. Like I was away
I
at
thought
the
they
time.
said you. Anyway, that's fine. So, you know, they're interacting with people. This will enhance their offering as a football club. It will. The debacle they've gone through with North Somerset Council, with the other pitches, which is still rumbling on a little bit, this will help them massively. They're looking to kind of run the pitches, you know, to let them out, obviously, to various groups and etc. Monday to Sunday, effectively. But obviously, the precedent, obviously, when they're playing on a relevant weeknight or a Saturday and Sunday, obviously they will obviously take precedent for obvious reasons, because they've got to play on a football pitch. And anything can be better. You know, I go, obviously, your point regarding replacing artificial with the grass. It's a better pitch, but actually there is plenty of green grass there, so I don't have an issue from that angle. All the drainage will be sorted out anyway, naturally, as part of the pitch, because it has to be a better cycle of system.
At which point can I ask you to remind us about this incident in the recent past, where money was wasted because another pitch, is that another pitch that's being
There's two other pitches, yeah.
Two other pitches.
So effectively, there's 2 other pitches at the back, which are kind of looked after by Gordania School, but the football club use them. Now, North Somerset officers, about 2.5 years or so ago, gave us some information after Paul Gardner and Bob Buller got the best part of £270,000 out of Persimmon Homes, that they should have paid in S106 money. They didn't pay it. North Somerset either didn't chase it or didn't do a very good job of chasing it. I can't totally remember the facts, but there was, either way, it wasn't chased up properly. We got it as a council, the football club. There was then discussions, the fact that we would use it to benefit the football club, and then there'd be some money left, around about 70k, which we would then like to use that S106 money to reallocate to other facilities around this town. And North Somerset came with a lovely harebrained idea, and I'm not just beating North Somerset all the time, I'm not, genuinely not, but this is a genuine harebrained idea, that there was a drainage issue on the pitches, with an issue with the drains underneath. Well, these were the best drained pitches on the entire area. The football club have no clue why they ever did it. We tried to argue with it, we argued it. We had North Somerset officers in a meeting about it. They still said, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing. They did it. We tried to argue. There wasn't enough evidence. We actually went and checked and asked someone to look at it. There wasn't anyone could see a problem. There was, down the line, like probably 20 years, they reckon, there might have been a problem, but not any time now. So they spent the best part of £200,000 on fixing the drains.
And there's nothing in relation to this application.
No,
The
but
two-
it's part of the whole package.
Yeah. Okay.
As such, because you could argue there's things going on behind the scenes around it as well. And then it wasn't done properly at all. It was a complete abomination. So they've kind of not been playing on them pitches now, and they've been having to farm their teams out to all over North Somerset and beyond into Bristol. It's cost. I've got an email here from Chris Sonny, the accountant at the football club. The figures they've had to pay out because of, I will say it because I believe it's my opinion, is the incompetence of North Somerset Council officers for the insistence that work had to be done that didn't. They've cost them thousands and thousands of pounds, literally shipping people out of town to go and train. They've had issue after issue after issue with it.
Okay,
It wasn't done properly. They've just spent the last part of the money on fixing it. So, and then it brings back to this point is we're now at, this is the hurdle to kind of get this pitch going, and we can then try and sort out the rest of it. It's part of a bigger problem. But yeah,
okay, fine, good, right.
I hope
Roger.
that's clear.
When we get there. Right, so I just wanted to say, actually, Portishead Town Football Club's a fantastic resource for Portishead. Mike, you may well remember from when we were on the council before, a long time ago. They actually won the league and got promotion and couldn't accept promotion because they didn't have the right facilities there. And they did that 2 or 3 years on the trot before finally, I think we gave in and allowed them to have the pitch that's there now. So there was a lot of resistance in the old council to Portishead Town Football Club. They didn't do their paperwork right because their football people and the council people got their nicks in a twist because they hadn't done their paperwork right. So it's
Multitude of issues.
yeah,
Some rumble on.
who knew? Yes, and it's a complex thing because I think it came from the power station, wasn't it? The CGB originally,
Right, yes.
and
yes.
it was given to the football club, the cricket club, and the pigeon fanciers club, I think. So there was this weird three-way lease that was going on down there. But what they want to do is they want to get some AstroTurf down there because we're in the bottom valley and there's a lot of the time during the winter, which is the main season for playing, when the pitch becomes waterlogged and they can't use it.
It is one of the better, one of the better ones, isn't
Yeah.
it? It
Yeah,
is definitely
but, you
better.
know,
Yeah, there's still,
I-
are still issues.
I'm
Yeah,
not sure I'd want to be out on it today.
with the weather we're bad, no, probably not.
I do play football in a very amateur capacity. I play on these 3G pitches. They are absolutely fantastic. I've played in the pouring rain. I've taken my kids training when they were
You
younger
slide around on it.
over there. No. I take my kids training over there, and we've had to call off training before in the past because the pitches are just unusable. When you get a deluge, it comes down. But on the AstroTurf, you can play in it. It doesn't churn the surface, so not only can the sort of semi-professional Portishead Town Football Club play on it, but they can allow the kids to go on it, which they can't at the moment because they don't want it all churned up.
Yeah.
So I mean, very supportive. Let's say yes, get on with it.
Right.
Yeah, Portishead needs it.
Massively. Yeah.
Presumably, just as an aside, you can't wear spiky football boots, can you?
There's molded
Just-
studs
molded
to
studs,
get
yeah.
to get your
Okay.
grip on there. Certain types of molded studs from.
So, would one of you like to propose it then?
Just want to add very quickly. Obviously,
Really?
we're contributing obviously £30,000 towards this as well as a council, which is already allocated. So we are going to give money to this. North Somerset at the moment, which I do want to take offside with Roger, have agreed to up their contributions to £23,000. We do need them to step in their pocket a little bit deeper and just rattle it somehow, because it's really important they rattle it and give a contribution.
So, how are they going to raise £1 million?
Most of the money is coming from the Football Association, FA. So
FA's got deep pockets.
they have got deep pockets, but there's a lot of pressure being put on different places, which I'm going to take. It's not for this meeting. I'm going to take what I want to catch with all now with this point.
We'll do that separately,
Yeah.
and just tell me who to speak to down at North Somerset, who's giving you problems, and I'll go and see what I
Yeah,
can sort
it's
out.
well
yeah.
known, but yeah, I'll talk to you offline.
Right.
So I am happy to propose it.
Okay.
No
okay.
issues at
I'll
all.
second that.
Roger seconding. All in favour of the
Absolutely.
artificial pitch then? Carried.
I like to second something in case someone misses me off the minutes.
Right, so the next one is 2332, 62 High Street, minor material amendment, permission 1649. So this is an extension to the existing first and second floor maisonette to create 2 self-contained flats to allow for rendering, cladding, roofing and window roof light alterations alongside creation of front dormers to replace approved roof lights. I didn't see any issues with this one, did
No, I
you?
didn't, no.
Anyone else?
There are public objections.
Yeah, I thought there were.
There's a couple of public objections in consideration of the initial planning permission for this was for I think it was 8 properties for living in, 2 properties which were to be retained for retail. Those are the 2 properties which are now properties for living in. which are these two here. So it was a change of permission. And now the two properties which were more or less designed for retail are now being materially changed to allow for residential, which is the dormers. The one objection is about the loss of retail in the area. And then the second objection is related to the fact that a dormer will now create sort of, people being able to overlook other residential in the area. But
And this is the just to make sure we're right. This is the one that's currently a shoe shop, yes, next to Impero Lounge.
It's above Solution, isn't it?
Yeah, the shoe shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's right. But just to make sure that we're actually in the right place in the high street.
Yeah.
We're above the shoe shop. Yeah,
Which has been scaffolded for a while now.
with a large block of flats built
Right.
behind it.
Yeah.
It's got an extra story on top of it.
It has no parking.
There's got no parking that they now want to do more on. I really don't know how this ever got through planning in the first place. But all I do know is prior to 2019, so it's not the fault of anybody who sat around this table. But yeah, I've got no idea how they managed to get through planning, and now it just feels like they're adding more and more and more onto it. I don't know if there's anything at all we can do.
I think we can object and try and stop it.
Yeah, but this
Because
is
the neighbourhood plan's coming again, hasn't it? So is there anything with the neighbourhood plan?
this is
I've not seen it,
an amendment. It's not even a
It's
planning
not.
commission.
Oh,
street.
no.
It's an amendment. So I mean, I would object. I'm just on the grounds that it's just going too
They're
far.
taking a biscuit.
Yeah, I didn't want to
It's
say
one
it.
word.
I didn't want to say it.
Where were the two plans?
It's how far can I push this boundary? And it's
Yeah.
like it's encroaching on that. I've been walking past quite a lot recently with the lights and stuff going up, but I've noticed now they're building a structure in between the Impero and the Solution. Well, okay, so it's literally coming all the way out. I mean, my question is, where are these people gonna park? Well, so we have a guess, shall we? And it might upset a certain retail unit that sells food and alcohol. Because, I can't see how this is going to end happily.
It's starting to look a little bit like an eyesore now.
It looks
isn't
horrible. It looks hideous.
And we've recently had lots of people whinging about Clevedon Seafront not being its Victorian original, and then we've got the High Street, and this feels like that one change too far. We're pushing different styles of building. We're really pushing it beyond what we would. I don't think what we would consider and what most of the people in Port Z would consider to be acceptable in the high street. And I think it's time to push back and say, look, we didn't get the chance on the other one because it just got through before any of us were in here. But at least now I think we should push back and say, no, I don't like it.
There's 10 amendments to the original, which was
Okay.
submitted and dismissed, which was erection of a 3-story building to provide retail unit, bakery and 6 flats. Following demolition of existing, and then it's kind of just creeped since then.
I think we have to just, as Roger's just said, I think we have to put our foot down and say, enough. This has to stop. This is ridiculous. It's going to change the whole frontage. I mean, the building looks hideous. It genuinely it's a bit like the prison, as I call it. It's so out of keeping. It looks appalling.
It's not good.
And the high street needs its help. It doesn't need more residential, for goodness sake.
It's site mitigation. This is off the high street, though, isn't it?
It is.
Tucked away.
But it's
I
not
mean, I
the
don't know
point,
whether
is
the
it?
2 retail units were going to be at the bottom of that in that little enclave. I would have.
To go back, but there's at least there's 10 of the original. There's an additional 4 of what then became 62A, and now obviously off the back of what was obviously 62. So yeah, it would take a lot of knitting together to work out what and a lot of it has gone through as minor material amendments when.
They're not really minor.
So we're going to put our foot down then and object to this on the grounds of the loss of the 2 retail units and the piecemeal
overdevelopment. Can we get that word in
Overdeveloped
there?
area, yeah.
piecemeal over. Yes.
And again, lack of parking facilities, because there isn't any. This potentially could, This whole idea that people are going to buy a house or a flat and not have a car, I'm genuinely not sure what little piggy was flying through the world at that particular time, because it's absolutely ludicrous.
But they
It
must have known
genuinely
this
is.
from the very outset when they.
Yeah, but it is. But again, it goes back to I think it goes back to Roger's point, isn't it? We can't say a lot what happened previously, but who in the right mind, I would ask, is why would you even sign up in the first place? It's overdevelopment of the area. It's killing the high street. And it would, you know, there was a fantastic business there. Okay, COVID didn't help it, but it was doing rather well.
Yeah, the thing is, I've seen in the centre of Bristol, Gloucester Road, they've done the same thing. They've put a development in there into a building with no parking whatsoever, and the justification is it's on Gloucester Road. They got a bus service, they got cycle lanes, everything you need. You don't need cars. And you know what? I think actually on Gloucester Road, you've probably got a much better argument for that than you have in Portishead High Street.
What's happening, potentially happening on Gloucester Road today?
I don't know.
You seen
I
it?
don't disagree. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I did see that. Yes.
I think we object for
Right.
what Roger suggested, and that's why we object. And
Okay,
I'm
so
happy to
we-
second Roger's.
Do we have sufficient wording down there?
Yeah, I've got plenty of work.
Okay, right, so.
Thank you,
What did
Roger.
Proposed,
I'll
seconded.
second.
Both seconded,
Those in
yes,
favour?
I don't disagree with you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So 2399 is the next one, 168 Newfoundland Road. This is the big block which they're recladding. Yes, there has been an issue in relation to the compound they've created, and sadly they've kind of chopped trees down and caused a bit of a problem.
That's a different application to this one.
What, the compound?
Yeah.
But it's already happened though, isn't it?
That the compound's already happened, but this application 2399 is the building at the end, not the planning, not the application which was cited in the email we received earlier this week.
Oh, thank you, Emma.
But it's still for cladding.
It's still,
This is
This
just
is
for
for cladding.
cladding.
Yeah.
There's no site. Yeah, this is literally just to.
Yeah.
And these buildings without the cladding change are a fire risk and are unsaleable. So
They've got to be
it's
done.
just got to be
We
done, hasn't
absolutely
it?
can't object to it. We can't object to it.
No.
Yeah, there's no object. What this one is just changing the material
Yeah.
of the original planning application for the change due to
Yeah.
the fire.
Yeah.
So they're changing this from a cedar to something else. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be class.
so I'm right on it being that one down at the far end
That's it.
by the
Yeah,
co-op.
yeah, not really, but
Okay.
the one that we had
On
in
the
the
corner,
week.
isn't it? Opposite number 68.
Yes, I got that one is.
There's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
The one-
lots down there that's going to be done. We'll
Not bad,
probably see
yes.
lots of these, won't we, over the next year or so.
So I'm happy to propose it. No objections at all to that one.
Yeah,
No.
second.
Yep, all in favour again. Right.
Day job, obviously, that kind of stuff. So yeah.
So 2415 is the next one, 36 Coombe Road and Coombe Avenue, and we had a previous application on this one, I'm pretty sure to say, which was for an extension, but this time it's for a full house extension. And again, it's happened all up Coombe Avenue, various locations. Yes, it's relatively, well, it's a house, so it sticks out until it'll be fairly prominent on the corner. It is on the bend as you're going up or coming down by the little cul-de-sac.
On the corner as you're turning right. isn't
I
it?
don't think we have a lot of grounds to object to it, to be honest.
Don't like it, but
It's set back, so it doesn't, it's not a continuation. They've, offset it, which seems to be the norm when you add a house to
It's all right, Roger was first.
whoever, yeah.
Yeah, no, I've got no objection to the house per se on that. That's not really an issue. I'm a bit concerned about the parking. They seem to have one space per house, which I think is the bare minimum. And I think the bare minimum, isn't it, is one space per house.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe they could do better than that
They're actually
on
gonna
there,
change
and
it.
we should ask them to do better than.
But does
one
that not
space
go against North Somerset's parking?
Well, and I think North Somerset's parking policy is higher than that,
That's
with
the
a
point.
with a fallback in exceptional circumstances to one space per house.
But we know it's not enough. And
Yeah.
we know they've gone against it on other places around the town against our wishes, the prison. But I think, again, goes back to the point is, you know, you're building houses in the centre of housing estate as such in the centre of town, because it kind of is a housing estate, feels like it, with no parking, is to my understanding. And then you're this with only one. Well, how many houses now actually have one? There's a house around the corner from me that has 5, and we regularly find one of their cars now. Because guess what? They drive only 2 cars. So they've got 2 other cars on the road, and regularly one of them's on our drive. Well, not our driveway, but our roadway. So, well, guys,
But
seriously.
this house, as it stands, without the extra house being built on it, has got room on the drive for at least 2 cars, I think.
Yeah.
That's
And,
fine.
and after
Yeah.
this change, there'll be 2 houses and 2 parking spaces
Yeah.
instead of 1 house and 2
And that road
parking
is already
spaces.
crazy busy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And-
hideous road.
Actually suggesting putting in is that because of the topography again of the car, is that
Buzzwords, no.
if you, I know it is, if you imagine that that's the ground level where you're walking into the house, the parking would have to be here. So you would out of your front window, you'd be looking at the underskirt of your car.
Have you have a nice car?
Oh, well, that's their business, isn't it?
It-
I mean, you know, if you wanted to increase the car parking spaces, then you might end up having to remove all the hedging and hard stand it all, and that would be even worse.
That's the only way that you fit. But that's stated in the plans in terms of what, you know, but it is only 1 space per.
Yeah, I do. I just feel in the area with all the parking problems that they've got, putting 1 space in for each of them in place of the 2 spaces they've got just feels wrong. And because when you break out another driveway, you lose an on-road space anyway. So you'll lose 1 space, which you'll replace with that 1 space, but then they're losing the space
Absolutely.
off their other drive. So we're just going backwards on it, aren't we? So essentially, we're losing, I think, 2 spaces.
So in light of your comments, would you like to phrase the proposal then?
To object on the grounds that
You want to object to the whole application?
yeah, to the whole application on the grounds that the parking it doesn't meet parking standards.
And there's 6 public comments to that.
Okay.
To that effect?
To that effect from an objection.
Whether or not anyone wants to chuck in anything about overdevelopment, which is always a good
Well,
buzzword for
that's-
planning.
That was my 2. It was parking and whether it would be overdevelopment.
I don't think there is. Bit of a sticky wicket on that one, but you're welcome to do so.
We don't get.
I mean, I think we've recently approved one further up the road, which is ongoing at the moment. I think that's more of an extension than a full house.
Yeah.
But,
I think we approved one, but that had additional parking with it as well. I think could have been like 8 months ago now.
well, Wendy, you've heard Roger's proposal,
Yeah.
which is full objection on the grounds of overdevelopment has come from Emma and the loss of the parking.
Yeah.
So do you have a seconder for that? Presumably
Yeah,
Emma.
would I have a seconder for that? Yeah, there we go.
And all those in favour of that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's carried. I abstain on that one.
Done the next one.
They might only have 1 car. Anyway, we'll move on.
17.
31 Beechwood Road,
Little cars.
24,000. Demolition of existing rear veranda and sunroom and proposed direction of rear extension over 2 levels. I felt perfectly okay about this one. No objection.
No.
I know you're looking at me because I've like just got my whole book of like.
Objections.
Yeah, no
Comments.
No comment.
Okay.
That was so we just did Coombe Avenue, didn't we?
Yeah.
You did, yes.
And you've gone to which one?
Beechwood Road.
Yes, we already did.
So I'm on the spreadsheet. It's further down the spreadsheet. I'm getting confused now. That's fine.
Any comments on that one? This is at the rear of the property. It's overlooking the channel.
Yeah, I can't see a problem.
I can't see a problem.
No.
Roger.
I put a note on here saying, is this another conversion from a 2-bed bungalow into a 3-bed house? I couldn't quite tell from the plans. These were the slightly weird plans, weren't they? I think were they hand drawn, these plans?
Oh, it's the Bower House people, I think. So it's all they're always like that. Very
but-
difficult to interpret.
But I was looking at it, and it looked to me like we'd be losing a 2-bed bungalow and changing it into a 3-bed house, which I think falls foul of the policy that we
Just discussed earlier.
yeah, that we relied on
we
there.
can't-
So should we do the same there?
We
To
can't
be
keep trotting
consistent.
this one out. I mean, a
That's,
lot of people are trying to improve their houses without having to move house, buy another one.
I have no objection to people improving their houses, but we have a full policy enshrined
Inappropriate places, inappropriate places though.
planning law, not to lose certain types of housing from Bodies Ad. And if we're gonna concede on it, for one, we're gonna concede on
We
it
have
for
to be
everyone.
consistent,
You've got to be
so we have to be
consistent.
consistent, we have to object.
Yeah, but I think
Yeah.
it has to be seen in the context of where it is and what type of property it is.
No,
And in this
no, you
instance,
can't though, you can't though. If the neighbourhood plan says it, you've got to follow it. Whether it's on the beach, in the middle of a field, in the middle of a housing estate, if the neighbourhood plan says it, we've got to follow it. The reason we did the neighbourhood plan was a very specific reason.
Yeah.
Where we spent all that time and effort and money to make sure there's not overdevelopment, it's done sustainably, it's done properly, it's done with thought and done with consideration for people around the area. Therefore, on this one, I'm with you, Roger. I fully agree with Roger, and we should object to it. And we've set the standards already this evening,
We
Roger.
are still recording. Can I have a copy of that later?
We have to be consistent, and I would second his motion to object. We have to.
At the end of the day, when it comes into planning down at North Somerset, the weight will be added to different arguments.
Yes.
So the weight, there's a certain amount of weight that will be added to the argument that we don't want to lose this type of property in Portishead. There's other arguments that may come from the other side that it's an exceptional development or something like that, and that may outweigh it. But that's not for us to
That's up to them
consider
down there.
here. It's for us to
Yeah.
consider.
well, I think
Whether or not
also
it
we
fits
have to
our
take into
policies.
consideration that we don't want to be making fools of ourselves by, objecting to everything on the grounds that it's within the neighbourhood plan. I think we have to be,
Are the
we have to be
plans
looking
clear
at
enough
various
to show
plans.
with the-
Enough to state bedroom 3.
Right, in that case, then. you've
Was
got
it?
to
Oh,
object.
okay.
Yeah, we're in that area, I think.
Proposed bedroom 3, moved in the living room, dining
Right,
room.
guys, well.
So did I
that's-
propose objection then, I guess, and Ben
Change your
seconded
mind,
it,
that's
yeah.
Entry to neighbourhood plan, item to,
Is Mike going to call for a vote?
yes, I will. So you're proposing rejection, refusal on that one,
Seconded.
seconded by Ben. Those in favour of that?
Well, You've got to change my mind.
Okay, so again, I'm in the minority. I shall,
Abstaining or?
no, I shall vote against their proposal.
That's good, you see, democracy.
Yep. Okay. So now we move into the hill crests and hillsides. We've already done one on hillside, so we have another two. This one is application 2428 at 122 Hillside, proposed replacement of the existing flat roof over internal integral garage with a sloping tiled roof.
See any issue at all with this?
So they would have given a discount.
What?
The hillside and Hillcrest
Oh,
all at the same
yes.
time.
Well,
Just ask.
Do you think they got maybe one fee for doing them all in one?
John Block.
Pretty straightforward one here. Current, proposed. Not a lot of
a
difference.
lot of differences there. No.
So we're all in agreement on that one.
Garage, Yeah,
Fine.
yeah,
Right.
no problem with that at all.
Okay. Poser,
Yeah.
Ben, seconder,
Yeah.
Roger,
Thank you.
all in favour?
Yep.
All in
Yep.
favour, thank you. So 2441, 14A Hillcrest. Proposed erection of a first floor extension to the front elevation to form a wrap style balcony, alterations to existing rear side flat roof extensions with extended parapet, external renovation including alterations of materials and erection of one detached store to the front of the property. That was here. So what have we got here? That's again, I thought it was perfectly acceptable. It was before's. That's as is, and that's proposed.
I couldn't see a problem with it, to be honest.
No.
No, not just acceptable, I thought it looked quite nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like a reasonably sensitive change, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Like,
In keeping with the area,
Yeah.
the reason, isn't it?
Proposed on that one. Proposer on that one, Martin.
Yep.
Seconder, Roger.
Yeah,
All in favour? Yep, passed. Thanking you.
Right.
2466, 17 Hillside Road. I won't read out all that because that's quite a
No.
big application.
It is.
Um,
I don't like it.
right, you do some talking,
I,
Martin.
I have spoken to the present owner of the property. This is a plan put forward to incoming people. I had a quick look and saw that the architect was from Truro, and I thought we got a property developer here, don't we? There's multiple occupancy, and
Are you sure?
yeah, well, that's what I was told. Yeah.
Yeah, let's stick with what we know.
Uh,
Because there's no plan for multiple occupancy, is there? On there.
well,
No
no,
mention of HMO.
So we can't
we can't do that.
take
No.
into account something unless we know it to be part of the application.
Okay,
Otherwise, we'll just fall foul of the law, I guess.
okay, all right. Well, they didn't know that. Thank you for that. There's, I talked to the neighbours as well. The ones to the right and the left aren't bothered. The people to the other side of the road think it's an abomination. It's too big and it's overdeveloped. They are going to take away some of the guard for a car park. The garage at the moment comes out sideways. Well, have I got one of those? There you are. That's how it is at the minute.
At the front on the
At the front of
road.
it.
Yeah.
And they are going to do away with the garden that's there and put more car parking space in and turn the garage round. Presumably they're going to have gates here to get into the place. So if they're going to have more people than one in the house, I suppose they've
Under the stupid. Does the erection of a elevated pool require any flood statement
I don't
or
know.
anything of that nature?
Environmental
Use of-
impact statement, well, it needs.
So I guess they're one.
Yeah,
How high is the proposed pool? Is this?
it's coming off the, well, you could probably see it
This
on
one
the
here.
steps.
It's quite high up.
Yeah, it's quite high up. Yeah. It's behind this, well, it's behind this wall, isn't it, in front of?
As mentioned before, a lot of properties in the Redcliffe Bay area are doing exactly this,
Yeah, I know they
expanding,
are.
going up,
Yeah.
and widening on their plots.
Mm.
It's not to say that I approve of this.
Mm.
It's huge. Yeah, it's a big property. Whether we could classify it as being overdevelopment of the site remains
Well, I
to.
thought so.
Yeah, we had an application before, ages ago now, where somebody complained that if the pool broke, then it would flood their house. But that's a really big if, isn't it? And I
That
think,
was at the
Yeah.
other end of.
and I think part of the building process is probably to mitigate
Right.
those risks on the way through. Yeah, this one's a really big extension to what is quite a large house anyway,
It's
in an area where they're all doing really big extensions to large houses. I'd say it looks really nice actually. It's not one of those horrible eyesore ones, or it doesn't feel like it's going to be one of those horrible eyesore ones that sticks out a lot. And I guess I hate to say it, but I guess it's sort of in keeping with the type of properties that are up there and the type of extensions that have been had all around that area. It's not sufficiently small to be able to invoke our policy to say we need to keep it as is. So,
Any particular comments in relation to the style of the proposal? I mean, again,
There's
Redcliffe
all
Bay's
sorts
got a
of
complete
different-
mishmash
It's
of
a mishmash
style
there anyway.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I suppose.
Don't think it looks too garish. Yes, it's a humongous proposal and a swimming pool up top as well is like monstrous, but they're adding in parking, they're doing the best they can do with it.
Sadly, yes.
I think I don't see how we could object to
No,
it. I
but-
genuinely don't. I don't think we have a leg to stand on.
I mean, the roof line of the existing property would appear to be roughly the same. in
Yeah,
line with
they haven't changed
proposal.
that much.
I mean, yeah, the other side, the eastern elevation is going up as well to match it, isn't it? But okay,
Right.
6 bedrooms.
no comment.
no, I did check through. I couldn't find anything.
As long as you got a swim pool, you're all right.
There are others along the road which I guess are less sympathetically done as well. So
again, it goes back to the point, it's a bit of a mishmash, and this one doesn't actually look too bad.
It's all within its
But,
own plot.
yeah. I,
That's true, yeah, okay.
you know,
Okay. So we're minded to approve this one.
On the condition whether we actually do need anything related to the,
running,
The
yeah, about the pool, rolling
I
environmental.
don't know. Does
Planning
need to
something,
be,
I don't know.
yeah, don't know.
Just a flag to planners
Yeah.
that,
Just ask.
yeah. Does any, I don't even know if there is anything we need to do about the pool, but sort of,
Okay.
does anything need to be done
Yeah,
about the pool?
Is there anything you do? So
Or can the planners please note the pool and any safety concerns, something along those lines maybe? Just to flag that
and
we've
potential
noticed there's a pool.
environmental impact from
An elevated pool.
Yeah.
Do we need to have concerns about the elevation of the pool? Yeah, something along those lines.
Would you be happy with that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, just a note really.
Right. Lastly then,
we've got to vote on it first.
oh, sorry, so we do, yes.
Is anyone proposing that one then?
I'll propose no objection then.
Just a second it, so.
Okay.
All in favour? Unanimous. Oh, Martin, you're abstaining.
I am.
Right.
Or voting against?
No,
Which one?
just abstaining.
Abstaining, okay.
Right, fair enough. Okay, 2489, 21 Channel View Crescent, proposed extension of a single story rear extension to the existing semi-detached dwelling. Any comments from anyone? I felt that this was
No,
perfectly
is it okay with that
acceptable.
one?
Just getting,
Proposer,
we've jumped
please.
back up. No, I've got no objections.
Any proposer? Roger, Emma seconded, all in favour? Yep, right, done. So we have late planning applications, just this one in Seaview Road, 2531, which is solar panels on the roof, I think, isn't it? Renewable energy on application, which I think we looked at. Oh, well, no, it's an old one, 18. So presumably no objections on this one.
No,
Solar
no,
panels,
that's right.
no.
Have to propose it.
Ben,
Just have to vote, don't we?
Roger second, all in
All
favour,
in
thank
favour.
you. Consultation, to receive a report from me in consideration of the highway improvements proposals. List of them.
We do have a long list of them.
Have you seen them?
It's the,
What do I have to do?
the issue is we haven't got a way forward of approving them or disapproving. That makes sense. Do you remember a form was created by Bob to
Oh,
look
the
at-
highway improvements that we
That's it.
created in 2019.
Yes,
Yes, that's gone, well, yeah, so Bob, Paul Gardner in their past lives, myself, and a few others kind of contributed towards issues generally around the town in terms of parking issues, line marking issues generally around the town, buses being able to get around the town safely, etc., etc., etc. We've got a very long list together. It is a long list. We were told by North Somerset Council officer, who will remain nameless, that yeah, we'll look at it. There's a budget allocated. There was a budget allocated. I can't remember if it was last year or the year before. They've done some stuff, but not a lot of what we've actually asked for. And they've kind of, some of it doesn't kind of make logical sense because they've kind of stopped it where they're a bit like, say, Harbour Road. They've done the bus stop bit redone and lined it, and then it just suddenly stops on the corner. So you've now got cars parking all the way around that bend, and you can't get up there at better times. So there is a councillor that invited a current officer for a walk around the town recently. We've got wind of this, and Roger has kindly dealt with said issue. And Hannah Young, the councillor in charge, has been sent the list kindly by Bob Bull. So she now has the list. We need to, I believe, we need to properly sit down with this one as not as planning, I would suggest. It goes to a full council one. We need to sit down as councillors, discuss it with Wendy and Sharon, and then go back to North Somerset with a correct argument to justify why we're asking for some things. The ironic thing is, in between a certain councillor, district councillor, asking for the visitor to come to town, I've had the bin team onto me, and I've had a very good conversation with the bin team and exchange of emails, and it's regarding issues that we're having on the Vale in particular. And it's not just the Vale, to be clear, but bins aren't being collected regularly because they can't get onto the roads, particularly the cul-de-sacs. The parking is appalling. A number of issues which have come up in the past regarding much because blah blah blah. It is getting worse, and I've agreed to have a conversation with him and speak to Hannah and get all 3 or 4 of us in the room and thrash this out, because we need to find a solution. There is a budget to be allocated, I believe. Is it next year or the year after, Roger? I'm looking at you. I can't think when it is, next year or year after. To Portishead line marking. I think it's year after.
I think it's the year after.
I think it's the year after, but I effectively, what I will be saying politely is it's not acceptable. Some of this needs to be expedited and dealt with accordingly. But I think, because there's so much work being done by the previous council before we came in, and obviously I am part of that because I'm fully aware of where the issues are. I think most of us are, let's be honest. But we have a list. I will suggest that we convene. Let's get January, the first part of January out of the way. Let's convene late January, early February as a council we'll just have our own business meeting about it, discuss it with Wendy present, hopefully, and or Sharon, and then agree a plan that we then take to North Somerset with the support, hopefully, of Roger, Nicola, Tim, and Caritas as our district representatives. And we can then try and argue to get some of this stuff done next year, because in all seriousness, some of this line marking cannot wait another year. It's just not acceptable. But sooner rather than later, sorry, I'm going on, I know, but it's really important. But sooner rather than later, somebody's getting seriously injured or worse. The parking is utterly appalling.
Well, I wasn't aware of this existing list drawn up by the councillors you've mentioned, previous councillors. I was just aware of there being another list, which is now being collated together with other issues on, like the Brampton Way one and the cab stand, to name it 2.
And these are applications that have come in from residents as well. Is that correct?
Yes,
Mike?
I think so.
Yeah.
So as my understanding was that this is getting submitted to the council, North Somerset, in due course in January, or there were going to be 2 submissions a year or something. Right, Roger.
We seem to have multiple lists. That's the first
More
thing.
massive, but it seems to be very.
So I think we can probably
I think
tag
there's-
this one onto the
there's-
previous one.
Yeah, I think there's requests coming in from members of the public that's going onto one list, and then there's the list that was done previously and everything else. So we need to get it all together.
Yeah,
don't we?
yeah.
We almost need like a highways group, don't we, to get together and
Sounds like it.
get our requests in order.
We kind of did. So it's kind of, it was
Yeah.
Bob, Paul, and then me behind the scenes with it. I would suggest that, I suppose ultimately that
We'll reconvene it.
I make a recommendation that we may create a small working party of 2 or 3, but we reconvene at the end of January, early February latest, as I said. We can look at it, and then we can then go to North Somerset with a constructive argument. And we're not asking for the world to be done tomorrow or next week or next month. What we're asking for is some sensible conversations with North Somerset officers. And I do think, and it'll be a really awkward one, I think this is where you come in particularly, I think we have to take the certain officer out of the equation. Because if we can take that out of the equation, we maybe have to have a sensible conversation with all the officers in that team. And that's just from past history.
I can't take an officer out of the
But I'm
equation.
asking, can we,
But-
my point is, can we not have the dialogue with that officer? Can we have it with someone else or his boss within the team, and then with the relevant?
So
councillor?
we'll have to speak to Hannah,
Yeah, that's,
and she can work out which of our officers is appropriate
think,
to
yeah.
allocate to
Okay.
do that. However, she doesn't have the power to allocate different officers.
No.
She'll have to go to the head of department, and they'll have to do it. But we can make the
I
request.
think it's just sensible. And the reason I ask you for it is not to be awkward. I think we need to draw a line, and the history and the past has got to be on this one has got to be put to bed, and we have to move forward constructively, us and North Somerset, so we can work together collaboratively on that.
Otherwise we're getting nowhere.
Well, this is the point. We're 4 years down the line, and we've achieved very little.
We've got
we-
members of the public.
yeah,
who
we don't-
keep
Yeah.
asking
We don't want to
what
get
the
nowhere.
situation is.
I will say that when you look at the budget in North Somerset, so much of the budget goes to adult services and children's services and everything else, and there's a little bit left over and that goes to highways, parks, and all the other stuff. And highways, I know, are under severe budgetary pressure. I think we've still got another, is it 7 million to cut off the budget for this year or something? It's just out of this world.
Yeah, I spoke to a department the other day, it's scary.
However, and here's the rub on this one. We could maybe get some of our works promoted if we were to offer them a financial contribution towards it. So, yeah, I mean, how much do we want it? How quickly do we want it? Could we make an argument within this council that there would be some value in doing that? I don't know, but I just put it out there because it's an option.
Can we ask?
Well, I would suggest that the answer to that is yes. I mean, for example, the cab stand one is just moving up the 20-mile-an-hour signs further up towards Battery Road. So relatively small
I think
costs.
some of the, yeah, I think
Can I suggest that you're putting it onto the January agenda
we can.
to
But if we
raise
if we
a
have
small
small
working party?
on it, then those questions can be raised there and then pushed back to council later on for
So
decision.
do we then, after this meeting then, maybe, because January's gonna be a bit busy, create a working party now, and then we come back in February to a planning meeting if we need to. We will need to come back to a council meeting, so we've got no choice, but I suggest that the working party be established.
We can
from volunteers.
we can do a working party from this committee. Yeah, that's fine. Then, yeah.
I think we should establish 2 or 3 people who would do it and then come back to the
Within
February.
within
PAG.
PAG.
Yeah,
Okay.
we
well,
can keep it within PAG.
do we
We
have
can ask the
these for it?
councillors. I don't mind, the fact that I've dealt with it in the past, I may as well carry on.
I'm happy to engage.
One other, hopefully that we've not had before.
No one else want. I mean, I may have one. If no one else wants it, or somebody else if they.
Let's go with that then.
I'll be doing the North Somerset bit anyway.
So can I ask you a question then? Can you ask the question from North Somerset officers how much it costs for a white lining vehicle? They have to hire it for the day, I believe. So there is a cost, a set cost. Can we? I think I know what it is, but I'm not going to say it. I want to be incorrect. It may well have gone up. But can we ask the cost if we go back to your suggestion of maybe a contribution from us? Yeah, one in particular, the one I'm dealing with, has been going on now for well over 6 years.
I could ask them. I'm just trying to think of the best way of putting it. Maybe I could just ask them if we were to commission some lines ourselves as Poyshead Town Council.
Well,
what would the charge be to us if we commissioned them to do it for us?
Yeah, we'd have to commission them to do it. So we have to go through
and get the charge off them, and then that gives us a negotiating point, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It's like that's where we start now. Let's see.
work way backwards.
Let's see where we can go back from there. Yeah.
So if it costs us, say, I don't know, £2,000, would they then go 25, 75? As if we pay 75, they pay 25, and would we? I'm just using figures with numbers, but there's a discussion to be had. But I think it has to be a sensible discussion where we just need to, with a clear argument and a polite argument.
And I think we need to get our priorities straight.
We need to understand very quickly.
So that then we can say, if they say yes, you can do that, we say right, and then we go.
Because they have to go through a process anyway. There's a process they have to go through and follow, and notices have to go up, and so on and so on. And that's what did happen first time round.
Yeah. The problem is they've been short of officer time.
Yeah.
And it's the officer time that actually gets the thing done. The getting the contractor on site is the easy bit. It's everything on the run up to that takes the time. I think the officer time issues were sicknesses and holidays, which all seem to happen at the same time in the summer. So I think we're back in a better place. Now, they're still busy. I mean, don't get me wrong, they are really, really busy in highways. They got far too many things to do, and some of that's their own fault. But they are really busy. So once we get into next year, they may have sorted out some of their problems, and we might be they might be a bit more receptive to us there.
Well, let's get together early January then.
Yep,
The three of us. There's no point this side of Christmas because I'm not sure about your diary, but I know mine's packed. Let's get it together in January, then we'll bring it back to PAG for the PAG February meeting with the proposal and hopefully costings from North Somerset Council and how open they are to a conversation around this, pulling some of this stuff forward.
Okay, good. So in the meanwhile, I'll look at the list and
Do we have to vote on that, Wendy?
Yes, please.
So I'm happy to propose that most of the fact that we create a working party for 3 people, which consists of Roger, Mike and myself, and we'll come back to PAG on the 6th of February, did you say? 2024?
Yeah, something like that.
Or February 2024, let's leave it at that. I'm happy to propose it.
All in favour?
Yeah.
Unanimous. Right, 9.2, which is the review of local list of planning applications
Closed on Tuesday.
requirements. It closed yesterday, and unless I've been noted here, I did read through them, and I know Roger did as well, because you made a comment about bats and something else. I didn't make any
I've just got a
response, and I think, did anyone else make a response directly to?
No.
No, so I'm afraid that we were a bit remiss on that one.
I don't see anything in it that was kind of.
No, they didn't.
I didn't
The
I've read
other-
it, so didn't.
Provides us clarity in terms of what it is that we're actually approving or, you know,
Yeah.
or not, then that's better, yeah.
I've got it in physical form as well, so I'll actually get it PDF'd up and sent to all councillors, so they've at least seen it as well.
The only thing I noted was, one of the things was the deleted wording specifically on the vehicular access to building sites and such like that. Whether that's covered elsewhere, I didn't spot it then anyway. So North Somerset Council are currently consulting on Backwell, which I think we had notification about. Proposals for the public transport design changes in Backwell Crossroads. There we go. Opened on the 13th and closes on the 29th of this month.
I don't really
13th
know
of
why they're
November.
asking us.
Well, it's not in ours, I think. I mean, I
Yeah.
raised it last night, but it's like it.
Would
goes
you,
back
would
to
you
that
like to
point.
make private?
It's
No,
I
it
mean,
just seems
comments,
daft.
yes.
Or
I
get
know, I know,
Or shall we do it?
Sometimes I'm sick of having to defend some of the things that we do down there, but at the same time, there is a process that has to be followed, and we are following that process, and we have put checks and balances in place to make sure that actually we've got some proper oversight on what's going on, because there wasn't.
I think we understand that.
Yeah.
I think the point is with it. I think one back to your very first point. Why are we discussing this? Because what can we do? Well, nothing.
Well, we can make a comment if we
Yeah, but we
wish
can't
as a
influence
committee.
it.
Well,
Well-
do we want to make a comment as a committee, or you know what? It's open to anyone. Do you want to make a comment individually?
I think, in my opinion, I think this is a really silly idea. It's going to cause more problems than it's going to solve. It's going to snarl the entire area up. It will literally be gridlock if they put it in.
I'm sure the arguments are very similar to the two that we're very familiar with on Port 300 and
It's
Junction
the same
19.
thing. It's going to snarl the whole. I mean, you may as well just put roadworks there now permanently.
But
Just stop it.
what we need in North Somerset is the feedback from the local residents to say what the problem is, so that then we can take a look at that in the exec, and if need be, we can push it back to the highways team and say we can't agree it. You'll have to go and redesign or drop. And that's the process. But we are in that process. But they have to do the consultation, so we've got something to back up our argument that we're not happy with it.
So do we then argue the fact that we're already objecting to what's happening on the 369 proposal? Do we just say, look, consideration?
That we have reservations.
They've
that we-
really forgotten it exists.
I just think, you know.
Should we word
Somebody
some-
hasn't.
Should we word something on the grounds that we have reservations on in light of the similar problems?
The integrity of the proposal following similar issues around the proposal for the 369 and also the one that's currently been put into place at Lee Woods.
Well,
It doesn't work.
that's done.
I know it's, but my point is, we know it doesn't at the moment. Okay, at the moment, I know they're looking at it, but at the moment it doesn't work. And the case in point is, I've gone into Bristol 4 days this week. I go into Bristol quite a lot for work, obviously, but this morning I went in at about 25 past 8:30 this morning. It's normally quite quiet coming out of town at that time of the day. This morning, it most certainly wasn't. They were all the way back. And the problem is it's a very simple problem. The bus lane is so ridiculously short, but because it's so short, it's not allowing cars to filter in. We said all the people wanted to turn left to go up Beggarbush Lane can't get up there because guess what? They're all stuck halfway down Ashton Court Road. I came out of the rugby on Saturday afternoon. Have a guess how long it took me to get from the cricket club to the traffic lights at where the new bus lane is. Just a guess, random numbers.
Going up Roundham Hill.
20 minutes.
An hour?
45 minutes.
Did it ever? Jesus.
You're in it. There's no point going around it because they're coming from the Clifton
I
Bridge Road as
remember
well.
the days that long back, like 35 years ago.
Left an hour after the game as well.
But,
Well,
but
they're
they-
more often in the other direction,
they-
through to Abbottsley.
But they sort of all calmed down when they did other traffic measures. I mean, we don't really want to introduce those again. I remember the queues from Junction 19
Yeah.
all the way back up Cab Stand and Avon Way, which wasn't that long ago, was it? 20 years ago, something like that.
For some reason, one night took me 2.5 hours getting to Portishead from Junction 19.
This is part of
The-
this is
I'm-
part of the problem that we don't want to reintroduce.
No, we don't, no.
These type of issues again, and to a certain extent, some of these plans are reintroducing some of these
I think,
issues.
and I think that's my point, which maybe not made as well as I should have done, but my point is we want sensibly considered plans with a logical thought process
Yes.
behind the back of it, and it for them to come out with what are the potential pitfalls, but do the benefits outweigh the pitfalls or the pitfalls outweigh the benefits? And they should be doing that in the background before a proposal even comes to fruition, shouldn't they, really?
Mm.
I'm not saying they're not, but there should be
Although
weighted either way.
that said, I think there's two options in there for the bus lane, isn't there? And there's some. I really liked the stuff about the bus stop changes and the pedestrian walkways. That was quite well thought out. So there were some good positive points in there. Bus lane, not so sure about that. But at least they managed to wrap up some more positive stuff in there. Although I felt the proposal was lacking on data to support the bus lane, and I think
all of them have been like that.
they're supposed to put more data behind these. That was
Yeah.
part of the agreement, that not only was there to be some options in the proposals and there to be some good things with the bad things, but there was supposed to be more data behind it. So my objection is that if we're doing that,
Yes, let's word
there's,
something.
there's insufficient data in the on the traffic impact in the proposals.
Right.
Because you know what, they might work perfectly.
Traffic and environmental impact is both.
But unless someone does the work to show us it's going to work perfectly, we're all going to go, that's never going to work, because that's the nature
It
of
comes back to the
beeping.
data, doesn't it? So you weight it and you look at it. So I agree with Roger's proposal with
Well,
environmental
Wendy's
impact.
been
hasn't it?
scribing away here, so I'm assuming that you probably have enough.
Yeah, I've got it recorded as well, so if I haven't got it all. So you've got reservations regarding the integrity of the proposals because previous schemes haven't worked. Some of the plans which are being proposed will reintroduce old problems.
May, I
Thank
think,
you.
may reintroduce
Yeah.
old.
You mentioned that the bus lane proposals are not good.
No, there's insufficient data to
you.
evaluate, insufficient data on traffic flow to
I've not actually
evaluate
looked at this particular scheme.
It's not
Yeah.
massive. It's
No,
it's
no, it's
bus
not
lane in a
small.
couple of places, and it's one bit by the bus stop and another junction further
Yeah.
down. Maybe I think that they're proposing a one-way system
Yeah,
there,
it's in a loop.
Right.
which has got the
Mm,
people
sorry,
of
mate.
Nailsea Backwell pulling their hair out. Of course, anyone says one-way system and everyone goes,
I think the unfortunate thing is it's right on the back of, we all know where down the road, don't we,
Yeah.
Clevedon? And that's the
Then-
problem.
You mentioned that there were some good parts in there regarding
the yeah,
Pedestrian.
the pedestrian walkway routes that are going in, and the bus stop with associated waiting area, I think, which actually looked really nice. Like I saw the picture that I thought actually that would be a good addition to that point. The bus lane, not so much so, but that looked
Start with
good.
the good bits.
Yeah.
Right,
got that.
okay.
Lovely.
So we're to note it and add it to the thing.
Mhm.
Thank you, Wendy. So we have to vote on that, don't we? That we're
Yes,
going to
please.
officially put it out.
So propose.
I'll second it.
Thank
All
you.
in favour, yes.
Yeah.
So those will go in
24 hours to
before,
agree, but we agree.
they'll go in before the end
Yeah.
of the consultation period, so 29.
I accept your apology. but-
Okay, good.
Don't take it personally, Roger. It's not to go at you personally. Genuinely, you know it's not. You know it's not. My point, I'm not going to go into it, but my
No,
point
No,
is,
you're progressing.
is-
Wendy's got over an
I
hour
am-
to
I
drive
am
home.
some-
anyway,
I'm calling you.
This-
meeting
this
to order.
one-
We'll do that later.
yeah,
Right,
I-
9-4,
I think
permanent
it's a great
traffic
idea,
order.
but where's the rest of the town? we do have other schools in the town. We've got Portshead Primary, we've got Trinity School, we've got Highdown, we've got St Joseph's. Where's the other 4, please? And Gordano School, 5.
Noted. Okay,
I'm sorry.
but
You
we're
can't have
all
one
happy
of the
about this
floors.
particular one, are we? We're all, yes.
So no objection from me.
No objection, but I guess in relation to what it is, it'll probably form part of your working group.
Yes, it will, and it will also have an impact on the consultation on Brampton Way.
Yeah, I think no
There are
objection with the
issues.
caveat that why are the other 5 schools not been included
Yeah.
within this? That's what I think we should put in there. It has to be in there,
Yeah,
in my
something,
opinion.
something asking when, are we going to see
An
this for the
explanation
other
of why the other
schools
4
or-
or 5 have been
yeah.
left
I
out.
think, if I remember rightly, the one that came to PAG a couple of months ago was an extension to the temporary traffic orders that are in place around the other schools.
Yeah, which is all post-COVID effectively, isn't it?
Yeah,
COVID
yeah.
era.
So that, I think it was an extension to the temporary traffic
we-
orders.
Did we have something up at Highdown recently?
Yeah, I think
Is that-
that's
is
an
that- is
extension.
that-
Parking
was a-
issue again.
No,
Yeah.
there weren't they proposing a moving traffic order up there or
Oh, I
something?
don't
I've
know.
not seen that one.
I didn't see that.
Okay, maybe I should keep my
No, I
shut
don't
up.
know.
So
Maybe that's a different meeting
as
altogether.
long as we're happy with no objection with the caveat that the other 5 schools need to be
Yeah.
considered and brought
Yeah.
under this
Yeah.
umbrella
No, I think that's a
Then-
very relevant point.
consideration, it should be given. It has to be given.
Okay. So,
Uh,
9.5 is this
So do we
local
have to vote on
plan.
that though?
So-
So we're putting a comment in, so we surely we have to
Yes,
vote.
please.
So,
I'll propose it then.
President,
Yeah.
And the second is yes, we're all in
Yeah.
favour. Okay, so the local plan 2039 pre-submission version. We have until the 22nd of January to
Right, yeah.
respond. I
don't know why they said
Confessing I-
5 PM and not 9 AM because
haven't read this.
because no one's going to be working between 5 and 9 anyway, but they always set 5 PM. No idea why.
Really?
Didn't even bother asking because there's too many other.
Can I
things to do.
suggest that you all look at it and report back on
Not too
for the January meeting? And
Yeah, we just
we'll
put
make
it as
comments
agenda
then
item, yeah.
and put it onto the agenda for January.
Yeah, I can't really say anything about it. I've seen it, I've read it, I've been through it. God knows how many meetings. And I'm glad that none of you had anything to say on it because that way I don't have to deal with what I don't what you're going to say.
There's 3 things that we have to do. One is to check the legality of it. But none of us are really in a position to check the
No, I don't know.
legality
No.
of the submission for the plan. And then the other 2 were fine, but I guess the first one,
I think
Um,
you just say that. You just turn around and say that you're not in a
Yeah,
position
balance.
to.
yeah, there we go, legally
Comment
compliant. The
on-
first one, legally compliant. Does the plan meet legal requirements under the various statutes?
The town council isn't qualified to
No,
comment
no.
on.
Is it sound? It
Don't know.
seemed, yeah, is it sound, and then does it
Yeah,
the duty to cooperate?
I imagine that there will be some members of the public out there who will find something and go, that's not legally compliant. And I guess that what they're saying here is if you notice anything that's not legally compliant, point it
Let
out.
them know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not that you have to actually check it
Check,
yourself
yeah.
and be responsible
Yeah,
for it.
okay.
Moving on?
Yeah.
Right, so for information only, 3 applications there, which includes the certificate of lawful development for the proposed conversion of the attached garage into a living space. This is another one of your conversion of a 3-bedroom into a 4 or anyway. And then you've got the council decisions, and then we have to inform you that the next meeting's on the 3rd of January. And I think
the certificate of
meeting
lawful
closed.
development, there's nothing to do about that anyway.
No.
That'll just be done.
9 minutes past 9.